So for reals, WTF CNN, here we go. Oh, what is happening? What is happening? There's a whistleblower accusation against Donald Trump. Color me surprised.
What color would that be?
Uh, White, apparently.
I, I'm not even touching that one. Just move along. Move along.
Yeah. So Jeff Dunham has a new special out with his puppets where one of the jokes that he tells in several different formats is it's okay to make fun of white people as long as they're white dudes and they're straight and they're not anything else. So Donald Trump's going to be impeached. Oh, 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 oh. Here's the thing. I've been seeing some people here, Facebook, Twitter, the Twitter sphere, the social media sphere. Pro-Trumpers, I'm hearing a lot of. Well, look, I'm tired of this. He needs to fight back. No, 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 no. No. Have you forgotten your Sun Tzu? The left is eating itself. On every front, they're eating themselves. Art of war, Sun Tzu, the supreme art of war is to win without conflict. To win without fighting. What the Donald is doing to these just blithering blatherskites is the active warfare equivalent of laying siege and then just waiting for starvation and cannibalism to soften the opposition. Once the opposing force has literally devoured half of itself, you can just walk in and take it. You don't even have to kill them. They're already dying. Let it happen. Just let... Shh. This is
Yeah,
what we're here for.
this is what fighting back looks like. And besides, we all know Donald's not afraid to take a swing or drop a Moab.
Don't go to Moab!
Don't go to Moab. Don't do it.
So, the thing that he's accused of is literally the thing that he is... Assuming he did exactly the thing that he's accused of, the thing that he's accused of is done in the service of asking a foreign power to investigate the crime of doing the thing that he's accused of by Joe Biden on behalf of his son. So if we assume that everybody in this situation has done absolutely everything that's alleged, then the Donald has attempted to influence a foreign power to use its investigative authority to identify the crimes committed by Joe Biden, which crimes include using his political power to influence a foreign entity to take action for his personal benefit. At the end of the day, the best argument that can be made against the Donald in the claim of crime is that the investigation of Joe Biden's crimes would have a positive political outcome for Donald Trump.
See, okay, couple of things.
How is that different than soliciting Saudi Arabia for campaign contributions?
Now, well, Chris, that wasn't campaign contributions. That went to the Clinton Foundation. It was a totally separate thing. That wasn't a front at
Oh,
all.
no, no, the Clintons aren't running in this race. But there are a shitload of Democrats that are.
Yeah. So, a couple of things. For one, after years of ma Russia, ma Russia, ma Russia, ma Russia, ma Russia, now it's actually ma Ukraine. And here's the thing. At this point, even if Trump is actually guilty, I am going to have a hard time believing it, because there's just been so much other just absolute bullshit that has come out with regard to Donald Trump and involvement with foreign leaders. So I'm not saying that it's not possible. I'm not even saying that it's not probable. What I am saying is, when you compare it to the accusation that somehow Trump got together with Putin and stole the 2016 election, and you compare that to Trump called the leader of a foreign country and said, hey, maybe you should, I don't know, do your job, because you didn't. I mean, I just have a problem with the scale of it. And here's the other thing. And this is something that I've talked with you privately about, Chris, and I'm sure it's at least been mentioned on air. Really, how many of us could survive an absolute unending assault from all fronts, where you've got multinational million-dollar media corporations literally every single day reporting every rumor, every little factoid, every little story, willing to exaggerate sources, pay off sources, or just straight up make up sources just so they can push the narrative and push the narrative and push the narrative. I mean, you've heard the expression, a broken clock is right twice a day. Well, okay, fine. Maybe we finally landed on something that Donald Trump actually did wrong. And for that matter, I'm even kind of suspicious of how all this went down. What if we know there's at least one person in his administration that is willing to do things like send anonymous letters to the New York Times saying we are inside the Trump administration and we are actively working to slow him down. What if?
Yeah, and that is the thing. When people talk about the deep state, that is the thing that they're talking about. They're talking about entrenched political appointees and bureaucrats who are not elected, never elected, but almost impossible to fire, and bear loyalty to a party by which they were appointed or impaneled.
Yes.
And a large number of those are Clinton and Obama appointees and hirees.
Yes.
And the funny thing about Democrats is, by a wide margin, they are dogmatically committed to the idea that the Republican is evil.
I can't help but go a little tinfoil hat on this one. What if some aide, some staffer, some cabinet member, hell, some Secret Service agent, who knows? What if they knew Trump was going to get on this call? And what if they knew this was a situation Trump was already pissed about? And then they ran it across his desk. Oh, yeah, maybe you should mention this super shitty thing that Joe Biden did a few years ago, and maybe lean on the Prime Minister of Ukraine. And Trump goes, yeah, you know what? Actually, that's a good idea. And they rely on the fact that Donald Trump kind of shoots from the hip, and all he's got to do is trip himself up in that phone conversation. Like, at this point, there is nothing that is off limits to me in conspiracy theory land. I mean, when I look at it,
no, of course not. I mean, like you said before, Epstein's dead. Clockwork Elves.
Yeah, I mean, I was actually about to reference Epstein. By the way, apparently none of the cameras worked, not just the one at his cell, but apparently the ones leading to the hallway. And anyway,
World's biggest Alex Joner.
Yeah, something like that. But I mean, Nothing is off limits here. And if I, a person who really believes himself to be governed by logic, evidence, rational thought, all of that sort of stuff, if I know for a fact that I will have a difficult time believing this if it plays out exactly the way it's being reported in the media, how many people in the country are going to flat out refuse to believe it? Maybe even flat out violently refuse to believe it. I mean, how dangerous is it to begin these impeachment proceedings with the election right around the corner? And to be fair, I think if they were certain that Elizabeth Warren could beat Donald Trump, um, they wouldn't be doing the impeachment. Like, this really is, this is the fourth quarter for them. And they've got a quarterback that can make the throw. So they're like, to hell with it. Give Tom Brady the ball. Let him try and work his magic. Like, that's
Yeah,
what this is.
I don't know. I can't imagine what they're thinking. Tactically, this is just, well, it's retarded. So, okay, let's say you actually get the articles of impeachment out of the House. They die in the Senate, and now you're the ones that tried to impeach a president that couldn't be impeached. So even if you're morally right, you're tactically stupid, and that's a mark against you for the prospect of getting reelected. Now, it looks like it's more probable that you're morally wrong, that you're attempting to use the First Amendment, or the First Amendment, the Article 1 powers of impeachment for personal and political gain and no other reason. So, you're grandstanding, and you're grandstanding for communism? Okay, you're done. Now, let's assume for a moment that you do get the articles up to the Senate, and a large number of people believe that it's the right thing. I'm here to tell you, half the people, at a minimum, don't think you're doing the right thing. In fact, half of the people, at a minimum, correctly believe that you're attacking them personally because you're trying to undo the vote, because you're trying to pull a Brexit on a US presidential election. You're trying to say, "Oh, well, just kidding. We don't really want to leave the EU, so we're totally just going to have another vote." No, shit directly up your noses. You don't get to play that game. When the people vote, the people vote. Okay?
Yeah, well, they're playing the game.
They are playing the game.
And look,
There's no way that there's just not a reality in which this does not cause a Trump 2020 landslide. The fact of the matter is, they can't beat him with the candidates that they've got. That's not an option.
no, I think that's pretty clear. But I think it's worth noting that up to this point, look, credit where it's due. Nancy Pelosi is capable of learning from her mistakes. Look, I'm just saying. Now,
If
how
that
she
were
chooses
true,
to
she'd
apply
drink
those
less.
how she chooses to apply those lessons is an entirely subjective discussion, but she's capable. And she has really tried to tamp down all the impeachment talk, has tried to downplay it, operate in a gray area. And the fact that she swung so hard in the past 24 hours leads me to conclude that Nancy Pelosi believes there is some amount of there.
No, I don't think that's the case at all. I think this is very simply a case of Pelosi caving to internal political pressure. I don't think she believes that there's anything to be achieved here. I think this is more like a capitulation. Essentially, what she announced yesterday is not that she plans to pursue the impeachment of the president, but that she's decided to retire.
And that may well be how this shakes out. But let me put it in reverse. Nancy Pelosi would have done this 6 months ago if she thought she could make something stick to the president. Let's say Bob Mueller had come out and given his testimony, and there had been an actual bombshell instead of the faux bombshells that Bob Mueller dropped.
You know what my favorite bombshell out of the Mueller report was?
Could you repeat that question?
You know what my favorite bombshell out of the Mueller report was?
Could you repeat that question?
Do you know what my favorite bombshell?
Dude, I'm doing a Bob Mueller impersonation.
I know. No, I got it. I got it. That Bob Mueller is criminally liable for the entire second half of the report.
Yeah.
He should be incarcerated over the second half of the report. That it was written is a crime. That it was conducted as a criminal investigation into a private American citizen or a public American citizen, into an individual American citizen, under the auspices of a counterintelligence investigation into a foreign power, is a crime at a bare minimum under the fraud, waste, and abuse statutes. Bob Mueller's ass should be in jail for the rest of his life for the conduct of a political coup. This is not complicated. This is not a case that needs proved. It is a case which has been proved. The case just needs to be brought.
Look,
ladies and gentlemen, that's 17 minutes.
I'm going to have to disagree with you. I don't think this is capitulation on Nancy Pelosi's part. I think, and this is just my guess, but I think she sincerely believes, whereas before it would have been a throwaway, now there's actually a chance. And I dare say that with the Senate nearly evenly split between Republicans and Democrats, you don't actually need that many Republicans. You don't actually need that many Republicans to flip. I mean, you don't think Mitt Romney would vote for impeachment in a heartbeat, for example?
I thought you said Republicans.
Well,
Mitt
I mean,
Romney's
people with
a Mormon.
I mean, people with an R after their name. Those kind of Republicans, not like. Not talking about people that like vote for Ron Paul or attend Tea Party rallies. I mean, professional Republicans, those guys.
Democrats.
But something like that.
And Mormons.
Yes. But you don't think he'd vote to impeach Trump? I mean, in a hot second?
Oh, yeah. No, you're right. You're right about that. That's fair. I think he's in a minority, a very, very slim minority there because having a president of your party impeached is a big deal. And tactically, that's part of the reason that that Nixon resigned. So the impeachment didn't get to actually go forward. Clinton's impeachment ended up working in his favor. In Trump's case, the threat of his impeachment will work in his favor. But let's not forget this. We should do a special show on this particular subject. The Democrat Party has tried to bring articles of impeachment against literally every Republican president in history. They try it every single time because they're sore losers. When their vote rigging and busing strategies, when all of the busing criminal aliens from the border to the various poll positions and busing people from outside of districts and giving them a plate of fried chicken to go in and vote Democrat. When all of that election fraud fails, they switch to impeachment. The Democrat doesn't believe in losing. Vote early and vote often.
It's just trying times are ahead. I'd say beware the Ides of March, but it's September.
Is it? Jesus.
Yeah.
All right, brother. I will see you tomorrow morning, and I will see y'all at the same time. Have a great day. Be safe out there, and set them on fire.